So when I graduated from UCLA, I got a job at a firm called Huddle, and this was a firm started by a UCLA grad where they designed and made their own children's line of furnishings. And that was a wonderful experience because I was there designing the items and then having to walk the item through the factory floor to work with every worker and every machine to see if it was actually doable. From there, I went to work for Glenn Fleck. Glenn was the primary assistant to Charles Eames for many years. He was the number 2 guy. And because the Eames office no longer existed, all these Eames alumni would float through the office. So I got to meet them. And Glenn showed me how the Eames office would do business, how you would have guys in suits show up from Polaroid or IBM, and how the business of design, how you would convince them that you were this genius and that they absolutely had to buy everything that you presented in front of them. When I graduated from Harvard, I knew that I just couldn't go work for a New York firm and have 8 years of my life go by without seeing something built. So I started doing public art, and it went quite well immediately. So I had a dual career really as a sculptor and as an architect, and that's continued to this day. I had work at what they call Art Park, Art on the Beach, then later Art Park in upstate New York. I was an art fellow at PS1, and I got simultaneously awards, National Endowment fellowships in sculpture, but also in architecture. A few years later, I got the Rome Prize and went to Rome to study light. That was it is a major preoccupation of mine. And I'd come to understand the light of Los Angeles as being a certain thing, largely through photography. And that I contrasted that with the light of New York. And so the question I posed as a fellow is, how is the light of Rome different from these other 2 places? So I learned a great deal about light and why it looks the way it does. And the primary thing I learned was that what we think of as the light of a place is certainly due to its geographic location, if you're near the water or so. But so much of it is actually due to our built environment. The size of the buildings, their color, the nature of public space, how you employ windows and so forth. And so I turned my study to film while I was in Rome and started taking time-lapse photographs of light moving in and around buildings and shadows and so forth. And that has greatly influenced how I look at and create architecture.